What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the Hori Sheet Show on this wonderful Thursday, February 10th, 2022. In this video, I'm going to be basically watching another video from a channel called Sat Yoga Institute. And no, I'm not into yoga, really. To me, it's a form of exercise and nothing else. I'm not sure if any other parts of yoga are really even almost remotely beneficial, but I won't get into my thoughts on yoga other than that. I just feel what this dude's saying. And as I found this video the other day and was cooking my food and listening to it, and I felt that I was just getting revelation after revelation listening to what this guy was talking about. And so I felt compelled to share that with you guys, and so we're going to listen to it. I've only seen 8 minutes of it, and believe me, there was about 3 times where I was like, duh. Like things that I already know from my meditations or my psychonaut travels or from spirit directly or just my experiences in general, these bizarre experiences that cannot be explained by logic and reason. And the way he explains this world and what it's comprised of as far as frequency and vibration and matter and everything like that, all those things along those lines, the way he puts that, the way he talks about it, puts it into a perspective that I think you guys can understand, and I can kind of like jump in and relate it to my own experiences in a way better than I could try to tell you a story I had and help you make any sort of sense about how it could have happened. I think if you listen to this guy explain some things, it might make my stories more understandable or digestible, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm having like some computer slowdown issues right now because I'm transferring backup files to video cards and cloud storage and everything. So I don't have the chat screen up right now, and I'm being a really bad boy. But I saw somebody say something, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my chat. There's not a whole lot I can do with my computer very quickly right now, so give me a minute. This is how you know your computer is bottlenecked at the hard drive level, that's for sure. Hey Liz, welcome. How you doing, hon? So anyway, I don't want to talk too much in this video. It's mostly a reaction video and a first listen for me after the 8-minute mark. So let's hear from the Sat Yoga Institute. And the video is titled, "The Human Spirit is Rising. Now Our Divine Spirit Must Be Activated." This video was put out on the 7th of this year, so it's one of their more recent pieces of material. I don't know if it's channeled or what, but I wanted to stick this out there because I wanted to stick this out there, but I also needed to raise my own mood after going through hundreds of pictures and videos of my children and just seeing red. I have to remind myself what my real mission is, and rather than have a mild panic attack, I figured I'd be here and share not only my truth, but apparently it seems like some of the stuff that I've profoundly figured out or have a grasp on is actually being talked about by this guy. So I thought this was pretty cool. Let's have a listen.
The human spirit is now rising. The human spirit is now rising in the world, awakening to the nature of the situation on the phenomenal plane. And thus the ruling elite are in a panic mode, and they recognize that they cannot prevent the tide from turning against them, and from there being mass arrests for genocide and other crimes against humanity. And because of this, they have to divert attention very quickly. And since they cannot prevent their own populations from rising against them, in the West, they will use Russian missiles to do it for them, and Chinese weapons of mass destruction. And it's for this reason, for playing this last card, that they have built massive underground cities with stockpiles of food. And they
want to know who this guy is. I want to know his background. I want to know what he, is all about. How does he know this kind of stuff? He looks like he, lives a very monkish life. The way he speaks, his countenance, his demeanor, his rate of speech, his eye contact with everyone in the audience. There's a lot of things about this guy that I find fascinating and I can read you like a book level. Okay, I could read people so good I made money on it. And there's something about this guy, something about what he's saying, and I dare say it reminds me a lot of myself when I was going through my Jesus episode. I sit just like that and talk with a very matter-of-fact attitude, and just thought I'd add that in there. Like, I don't know if anybody knows him, but if anybody's watching this after it's live or while we're here, if you have any input on this guy and his backstory, like, let me know.
They are beginning to move. They are beginning to move into this next phase in which there will be massive destruction by other means than is currently happening. And this acceleration of events will have many implications, because when the war goes kinetic, it will happen in space, underwater, under the ground, and it will destroy everything.
So I've been, my tribe, my peoples, my spiritual brothers and sisters have been talking about a big something happening. I was told it's a battle. It's a straight up battle. It could be a battle. Whether that's a physical one or a spiritual one, it's whatever it is, has been going on for a long time, and it's going to step it up. It's going to step it up a lot. And some people will see the physical ends of this battle, this war taking place. We're looking at the, depending on your perception of the world, you can already see that it's going on. But it's going to hit us in different ways, and it's going to turn up a lot. I want to know how this guy knows this stuff about the DUMBs, deep military underground bases, and stuff like that. But anyway, I'll shut up.
Everything in most parts of the world. And because the war will take place in cyberspace as well, it will cut communications, and it will disrupt every system, and it will stop the import of fuel and food and other supplies. So the reverberations and effects of this will strike everywhere. And we must be prepared spiritually and psychologically, as well as in terms of our physical preparations. The world is made of vibrational frequencies. It's the pattern of those vibrations that determine form.
I want to go back in case I missed something that he just said, because my brain already heard this, so it's not even trying to like listen to it again, but there's a couple of parts I know I wanted to stop and talk about.
The world is made of vibrant effects of this will strike everywhere. And we must be prepared spiritually and psychologically, as well as in terms of our physical preparations.
You got to be prepared spiritually and psychologically, as well as physically. Did I say that right? My brain is like mush right now, I swear to God. Spiritually, psychologically, and physical. That's, a lot of people are going to see this war break out, this stuff turn up, our communications disrupted, electricity turned off, whatever it's going to be, they're going to do. Whatever it is. And people are going to be running and grabbing as much food and shit everywhere. You're going to see just a shitstorm of that on a physical level. The psychological effects of people seeing that is going to throw them off there. The spiritual people, they better hope they're connected and not faking it. Because if these fake-ass spiritual people are going to see all this happen, they're screwed if they're faking it. Hey, Jess Palmer, how's it going? And I did hear him say space. It could mean a few things. I mean, that could still be Project Bluebeam. That could be airspace, planes. That could be all kinds of things. He didn't say UFOs. I think no matter how much knowledge you can tap into, there's still things you cannot physically say for various reasons. Like I'm just going to relate a lot of stuff to my Jesus experience, because my whole thing about life right now is I could lose everything. I've already lost everything I love the most. And so like I'm a almost dead man walking in some senses. So like, most people don't know this, I guess, but mid-April I'm going to go breatharian. Like I'm aiming for mid-April. I'm not buying any more food. I'm eating all the food I have. I'm going to go monofruitarian first, which is just like a fruit a day, maybe every other day, until my body gets used to me not putting things in it. And then it's just liquid. After that, I'm going to do water and tea. I've already stocked up a shit ton of teas. I'm probably just going to buy only tea with my whole next check. In preparation to reach a level where I'm going to speak my truth and have no more needs and no more desires for physical and worldly things. Basically like Jesus. I've been through this before, and it's hard to tell people what's happening in here and in here when I was in that mode. But I can tell you, you had no needs or wants. You were free to float around, and you felt like at any point you could just lift off like Superman. But you were kept from saying certain things. I was kept from saying certain things. I was kept from spewing out the most deepest secrets that I was aware of in my head. Like I couldn't get it out. It's you ever seen the movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey when he can't say the pen is blue because it's red, and he's like, the pen is red or blue or whatever he does, like that clip. It's a lot like that. When you tap into that, you show up as a blip on a radar. Okay, you bet your ass they already have technology that can see us through our walls, from the eye in the sky, whatever they have up there. They know where we are. They don't give police access to that stuff. They don't even give a lot of the military access to that stuff. They give a certain, and I'm just saying this is my beliefs. I think they give a certain set of people access to technology like that, and its sole purpose, pardon the pun, is to monitor how much light we're giving off. And when we wake up and we're connected to source like I was, we show up on the radar in a sea of black. We are a light, and one of the only lights that show up. That's why when I had that experience, I was watched from a damn helicopter. And also when Holly came and all that shit happened, a helicopter. You tell me why a helicopter was around for both of those occasions, I'll wait. You tell me why a helicopter came when I was looking at the stars in the sky that were moving and trying to communicate telepathically to them for the last 3 months. And when that son of a bitch finally came up close, I was freaking out. A black helicopter went to it, scared the shit out of me, went right over my head. Closest I've ever been to a helicopter in my life. And it was one of those. Going for that big ass light in the sky I had been talking to for months. I might sound crazy. I don't care anymore. I think they know about my ass. That's why I'm so censored. But censored on a level for talking about flat earth is one thing. But if you guys can understand what I'm talking about here, this isn't in the algorithms. Ain't nobody talking about the shit that I'm unleashing for the world. So if you pay a lot of attention to how I talk about you have to be right spiritually and psychologically, I mean, you can't, when this battle goes down, you can't grab for guns. It ain't gonna work. You go grab a gun to protect yourself, you are already thrown out of the divine zone. You're already going to be cut off from all of that. If you're like, if I was into Jesus mode and all of a sudden like everybody started attacking each other and the whole war broke out back then when I was in Jesus mode, I wouldn't have felt the need to grab a weapon. I would have walked around and just started to talk to people and like share love with people and like calm them down and kind of stuff like that. I think that there was a seriously powerful reason why when I was in that, I don't know, insane asylum or whatever thing that was they stuck me in, I think there's very valid reasons why I was stuck with whatever they stuck me with, and valid reasons why two very large 6-foot guys, 200 plus pounds each, couldn't pick my 115-pound ass 5'3" off the ground. I think it's very valid reasons. And one of the reason really is that I had no aggression in my mind and in my desire. I didn't have a need or a want to defend myself. My only thought in that moment while they were wrestling me to shove me somewhere I didn't want to go was, what part of you, sir, is wanting to manhandle me, so to speak? Like, I was concerned about why they wanted to exert physical control over another soul other than themselves for any reason at all. That's the thought that was going through my head. It wasn't that, oh, I need to defend myself. Oh, I need to be stronger than these people. Oh, I need to resist. No, I didn't have to resist. I just literally looked at them like with pity, a great pity, with sorrow in my heart. Because, like the Bible says, and I'm not a Bible guy, they know not what they're doing on a deep core level. They've been hypnotized and programmed, and they have past traumas and rage. And in this job, they feel like they have power and authority. And so they were trying to use that on an authority much, 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 much higher than them at the time. And they were powerless. It's a simple fact. They were powerless. Good does not triumph. Evil does not triumph over good. So when you can align yourself with the purest and most perfected form of yourself, which, I can't even tell you guys how to do that. I can't even do it right now. I struggle with shit, and I know I'm not perfect. But what I'm saying is you have to be perfect. So you have to embody perfection to gain superpowers, to gain this superhuman strength, to gain this otherworldly link to everything, to know everything about everyone. You can't have a single bit of fear or ego or anything. And the world ain't ready to hear this kind of shit. Ain't nobody talking about this. This might be the most censored shit you can find. Because I don't ever hear anybody talk about the experience like I've been through. I mean, the closest I've ever heard of it is like a Max Spears thing, like a super soldier thing. And then that dude disappeared, apparently. If I disappear, if I decide I'm done, I'm gonna put out a suicide video, I'm gonna tell everybody goodbye and shit. But if I disappear and nobody knows where I am, they got me somewhere in a cage. Or they ship me off to another part of the world, so I will not be around you guys. Something. I don't know. Anyway. He's saying to be prepared physically and spiritually, psychologically, and physically for what's coming up.
And spiritually and psychologically, as well as in terms of our physical preparations. The world is made of vibrational frequencies. It's the pattern of those vibrations that determine form, that determine structure, that determine mass, that determine the flow of energy and connectivity. Because every apparently separate thing is simply a manifestation of the same vibrational energy. That energy exists at different levels and of different qualities, from the spiritual to the psychological to the pranic to the electromagnetic and to the sonic. All of these different forms of vibration are having effects on the world. But the most important effect comes from the vibration of pure spirit. And it is that will morph the way that the world appears. Not radioactivity and not the vibrations of EMFs. It will be the vibrations of pure spirit that prevail.
That made a hell of a lot of sense to me when I'm talking about those two guys trying to manhandle me. I didn't perceive that as a threat. I didn't perceive that as something I needed to react to in the way that 99.9% of people would react. Like, run or fight back or, screaming help or, those are typical reactions to exhibit when something like that is happening to you. I didn't have any desire for any reaction like that. I was very much concerned about what was wrong with them at their soul level. And that's being aligned to spirit, that right there. That's why they couldn't do anything to me.
And that determine the pure spirit that prevail and that determine the conditions of life. And if we are attuned to that vibration that is immune to the effects of the lower levels of vibrations, there will be safety. But if we fall into identification with matter, then our consciousness will be affected by the material level of vibrational frequency. But if we fall into identification with matter, then our consciousness will be affected by the material level of vibrational frequency.
We get caught too much up with this world and this illusion, this place as it is and not as it really is. We will not have superpowers, is what that says. We will just be normal. We will be consumed by it. We'll be part of it. And we have to let all that go. Believe me, the voice told me how to do it. The voice said, you got to stop everything, bro. Your best bet's to go be all alone and homeless on the beach and just talk to people. If you really want to be as connected as possible, there's no way I can do that with my video games or my acting career, lying on camera or acting on camera, not being myself for some other company's monetary gain. What are they doing with that money? I don't know. I need to be aware of every bit of where my energy goes and how I'm influencing things around me on a personal and close level, or what I'm broadcasting, or my face being on a product, for example, that has nothing to do with me really, but it's fooling the rest of the world to think that I know everything about it. That kind of stuff is having me so ingrained into this world. I have to do that to pay my bills. This world is all about working and paying bills, and it shouldn't be anything like that. And I know a lot of you guys, a lot of people in general, can't just up and leave everything they know. Like, they got to pay bills, they got to take care of kids, they got to make ends meet. They got to buy food, right? Well, if you understand, if you could have been in my body with me when I was the Jesus, I don't know how to say that without offending people, and I'm like, it feels weird for me to say it, man, but I was calling myself Jesus. If you could have been me, you'd understand how blissful it could be to, walk away from everything of this world. But it doesn't just, I am trying to figure out how to go back there. And I'm retracing my steps, and I'm looking back, and how did I do that? How could it have happened to me? What did that to me? And all I can think of is, like, I didn't have any food in my body for a while, and boom, just one night it just hit me. I just wasn't myself anymore. It's like a spirit took over me, but I was totally okay with it. I was just happy, very whole, and I'm trying to go back there. And when I go back there, I hope to be doing live streams as that. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think once that happens, like I said before, I'm going to show up as a blip on the radar, and all kinds of shit around me is going to start happening. They're going to, hey, my internet's going to give me trouble. My computer is going to blow up. My house is going to catch fire, shit like that. Shit like that. I'm prepared for all that. And again, it's why the voice told me to skip all that bullshit and go be away from all that shit, so that none of that could happen. You see, like, the voice is 10 steps ahead of me. I hate to know that I'm not doing it, and I'm still stagnating in misery and suicidal depression. And I know it's because I'm not listening to that voice. I'm trying to balance it. I'm trying to still be able to get my word out to people, and hopefully I'll still be able to do that. I just have a lot of signs telling me that it's either going to be really hard or it's just not going to happen. Anyway.
By the material level of vibrational frequency. So it is very important now to establish the consciousness in that state that is transcendent of all of the lower vibrational fields. This was studied in the Virashaiva wisdom school that was developed around the 12th century in India.
Sorry to pause it again. I'm just reading the chat. I forgot about the chat for a little bit. Hey, Allison, how's it going? Hey, Alex, what's up? Allison asked me from a while ago, the Horseshoe Show, like last year. I had my Jesus experience happened before my kids were born. But I also entered that same Christ consciousness state 2 other times. One was when the Holly incident happened, and the other is when I did that self-exorcism. Or at least I didn't quite end up that connected during the exorcism night, but I had enough profound, miraculous something happened there. But so I could say at least one time I ended up like this, and I think also when Holly was here, they realized something was up with me. I had the superhuman strength thing for that experience as well. So I'm kind of thinking maybe it did happen twice. There's no explanation for how I could single foot kick somebody off the ground and make both of their feet leave the ground. I don't care how you look at it. I just don't think I'd be physically capable of doing that. But to send them 5 feet into a wall, both feet off the ground, and fall flat on their ass, I mean, that's powerful right there. But why was I not arrested or tased or cuffed or beat up by the other 4 people I didn't kick into the wall is an unexplainable thing to me. 2 armed security guards ran from me. 4 grown men ran from me. I wasn't, toxic or vile or angry or aggressive. I was very calm, and they wanted to stick me with a needle, and I wasn't having it. And I had that strength to defend myself, So that this was, 2 years ago. That experience, Allison. I'm trying to figure out why some of these things that's happened to me, how it could have happened to me. And when he starts talking about vibrations, and wait till he gets into like the find your tribe part, it's just, it all kind of comes full circle for me. And I'm only 8 minutes into this video. He's just about to get into the find your tribe part. Watch.
That's vibrational fields. This was studied in the Virashaiva wisdom school that was developed around the 12th century in India, around the same time as St. Francis in the West, and Dogen Zenji in Japan, and other great beings who recognized the importance of the shift of vibrational frequency. Their wisdom school came up with a scripture to describe the transformation of frequencies. They call it the Shunya Sampadane. I think I've read from this before, yes? Was it? Must have been some years ago. You don't seem to be remembering it. But in any case, it's a very important scripture. They refer to Shiva as Shunya.
The volume is pretty much as high as I can put it. The YouTube video is maxed, and I upped my desktop audio, which is almost maxed, so that's probably the best I can do with the volume.
And they carry a small lingam in a box in a necklace, because the idea is you shouldn't go to a Shiva temple. Your body should be a Shiva temple. And this lingam is symbolic of the vibrational representation of the vibrational frequency of the presence of Shiva in your heart. And if your body is vibrating with that frequency, it will have a protective energy field around it. But it has to be remembered. It has to be an object of devotion, not the physical talisman that they are carrying, but what it symbolizes, so that the one carrying it remembers always to abide in the heart and vibrate at that level of perfection of divine presence that creates a mandala of energy around one that contours the space of the Umwelt, of the world around one's environment, that produces certain synchronicities that would otherwise not be able to occur. It's this divine frequency that is the key to moving through this final phase of Kali Yuga with immunity and with the capacity to enable others to be protected by that energy field if there is enough of a grid of unified consciousness that can produce an entire dome of divine energy around a community.
AKA, find your tribe. Find your love warriors, your light rainbow workers, your whatever you know, the people that make love their top priority, unconditional love, their top priority. Those are the people that are just far and few between in this world. And a lot of people that claim to be that have not reached the highest pinnacle of just that. And this is why I ask people on Facebook and various places when they virtue signal. I ask them or anything about unconditional love when they post about unconditional love. I storm in on that post and be like, so can you forgive and unconditionally love a murderer, a rapist, a child molester, the most heinous people that you can have in the world? Like, can you exhibit unconditional love for that being? And a lot of times I get lots of flack. The immediate answer is hell no, no way, not a murderer, not a child molester. That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. You simply have to understand that all evil in this world isn't an inherent part of that person doing the evil. It's other forces at play. It's their past traumas. It's literal other entities, demonic flavored entities that roam around and look for traumatized people, and they get into these people and plant seeds in first the subconscious thought streams. And then that works on somebody for a length of time. And then they start acting out things. Like, for example, like maybe a rapist would have some past experiences where maybe they were broken up with several times during the height of their sexual drive as a teenager in high school or early college, and feels like maybe they've had years of no sex and they lack love. And that right there will drive a person sort of mad. How many of us haven't had sex for years, and how do we feel about that? Not having that intimacy, that closeness. Well, some people can't handle that. Some people will go and do things that they don't want to do, that they're not proud of. And that's a cry for love. That's it's not evil if you can look at it in a way of like, everybody deserves love, like we all do. And when you don't have it, you begin to get upset and depressed, and your energy and your vibe is lowered. And that's what lets other entities like this in. These other entities that want to experience that as well. And they side with that. They connect right to you on that. And then they start saying, well, just go take it. Just go take it, and that weighs on somebody, and that weighs on somebody. And then they just snap. Same thing with a murderer. Somebody did them wrong. Maybe they put up with it. They walked away from it when they wanted to beat their ass, and years and years and years of, going back to that memory of what they did to me. I hate them. I still hate them. Now I just want to kill them. Now I'm going to kill them, like that kind of stuff. And then one day they just appear and shoot somebody's head off. But if that's, that act came from a past trauma, somebody hurt them, we're always perpetuating these cycles of pain and abuse onto others, usually because somebody did something first to us. That's why it's extremely important to hold a high level of integrity within yourself, to do the right thing when nobody's looking. And I'm not perfect. I struggle with that even. And to know your inner thought processes, your subconscious mind's thought spring, tapping into that will really help you to understand why you make the decisions that you make, or feel the way that you do. And that's where your, shadow work comes in, is to go to the hard places and deal with it on a meditative level or spiritual level. Maybe you'll pray about it, maybe you'll confide in somebody, a best friend, a lover, a priest, or whatever you need. Sometimes getting things like that off your chest really just helps to feel like you can forgive yourself or the abuser that caused you to feel all these things and act out in ways you don't prefer to, as you're trying to find love. A lot of acts of evil are really just a cry for love. When it comes down to it, that's what we're dealing with. That's why it's important to embody unconditional love and to forgive and to have this deeper understanding of what makes people tick and why they crack. When you have a baby, that baby isn't bad and evil. No matter what it's doing, it's just experiencing life. Something happens later on in that individual's life that causes them to that shapes them, and for better or for worse. Everyone is like that, every one of us. So that's how it's easy for me to forgive. And I'm not going to say, like, if I had a child molester molesting my child, that I would just forgive them and love them and say, don't do that. Like, I would want to beat their ass. And that would be a really hard test for me if I walked in on something like that, to not just absolutely rip that person's head off. But it's a test that people go through in this life every day. And I don't know how Jesus me would react to something like that. I just know, based on how I was thinking when I was that Jesus thing, what would I do in that situation? Well, it would be something a complete opposite of what I would want to do. I would want to beat the shit out of them, but I would have to force myself not to. There's a lot of thought that would go into what the hell I would do if acting from the highest, purest form of love and God's righteousness. I don't even have an answer for it. So I can't blame some of these people that say, "Oh, that's where I draw the line." I get it, but I also have a really deep understanding of what causes people to act out in their different cries for love and various degrees of past traumas. Hey, Allison, I'm just reading your stuff. I was St. Francis for a day or two. I thought that was really cool. I hope my mic's better. It's probably the best I can do. I haven't really changed anything in between broadcasts. I so want to share the synchronicity, pass the mustard. I struggle with what love actually means, says Liz. Spell love backwards. All right, DC. Hey, DC, join us in the YouTube chat where everybody else is. You can't read most of the chat that I'm reading right now because it's on Facebook. You're on Facebook, rather. Come on over to the Hori Sheet Show YouTube channel. There are different kinds of love. Yes, there are different kinds of love. Absolutely. There's the unconditional love. That's what, Source has for us. He'll never turn his back. He understands us 100%. He always will be there. It always will be there. I don't want to say he or whatever. Source, whatever created us, is always ready for us to connect back with it. So that's the unconditional love. Never going away. No matter how bad we fuck it up, how many middle fingers we got to it, it's waiting with acceptance and love. And then there's special love. That's I want a girlfriend, I want a husband, I want a wife, I want to marry, I want to take all of my daily everything and give to someone because I love them. I want them to succeed. I want us to be a family. That's special love. You have a family love and a friend love. There are different degrees of special love. So there's at least, those two, maybe you can categorize it as 3 or 4 different kinds of love, but there's different kinds of love. The most powerful one is unconditional. It's the one that Source holds space for us through our thick and thin, through our good and bad. The most powerful form of it is unconditional love. It's where the magic comes in. That's when he was talking about everybody, needs to embody that and get together in their environment and create a sort of a dome of that energy. That's deep. That's deep, deep, deep.
Home of divine energy around a community. So this is the project that we must complete very rapidly. They talk about the various stages of development of one's vibrational frequency that begins at the lowest stages, or stalas as they're called, with let's see, I think the first one they call is the Linga Dharana stala. And then they go to the Bhakta stala, where the devotion becomes intense. And then the Maheshvara stala, where the supreme consciousness is able to be truly connected with while one is in one's daily consciousness. And then the pranalinga stala, where one's entire body is vibrating as the lingam. And then they reach the level of the sharana stala. And I'll read a little bit from that one. Experiencing of pure delight as a result of deep and continued meditation is the main feature of this stala. There will be intermittent flashes and streams of some sensations, but they will be replaced now by the self seeing its own form shining in divine splendor. There will be no more concern for the workaday world. The illusion of personal will is burnt. Awareness of the body is forgotten, and all external phenomena have crumbled out of one's consciousness. And all this is replaced by a total serenity. So a vibration of absolute peace is sustained in whatever circumstances. Where the condition...
All of that, except for, like, the vibrations were probably a thing that I could make happen if I wanted to. But everything else he said, I experienced that. And I don't know how, 100%. So I'm going to go back there. And then it didn't take meditation for hours and hours and hours. It didn't take anything like that for me. All I can hope is that I'm not the only one that transforms into that, because, I mean, a lot of people don't have that kind of time to go and meditate for hours and screw their job over and stop doing their daily life to enter a state like this. I honestly think at this point, the reason we aren't like this on the norm is that it's because we eat food. We put something in our bodies, or have been putting stuff in our bodies, that is responsible for stopping that process from being a normal, everyday thing. You get glimpses of heightened psychic awareness just from fasting for a 20-hour, 12-hour even period. I mean, I can sleep for 10 hours straight and have premonitions. On a 24-hour fast, I am so connected with, I can almost tell who's about to ring my phone. Like, I know when something's about to happen. Something clicks in my head and bam, I get a text message. Bam, my phone rings. Or I'll wake up and I'll have this like panic energy, like, oh God, what's wrong with me? I feel like I want to go, like, my chest is all weird and vibrating, and I feel like a panic attack mode, and I'll go to start making phone calls. And I find that person that's having a problem with their day. And it's like, oh, it's their energy I'm feeling because I'm so connected to that being. Happens more when I'm fasting. There's something to food that we don't know. And then what I did find out is that they are introducing an RNA technology. I know where RNA has entered in our mainstream life You know what I'm talking about? This RNA technology isn't just for the jabbies, but they're utilizing it on crops so that plants start producing whatever it takes to kill the bugs that would normally eat those crops. Yeah, genetic modified food, but what else is it doing? What else are they putting in the food to change our DNA? To stop us from waking up like this? Like, our body is in a constant state of repair. I don't care how you look at it. As soon as I drink a Coke, my body's first priority is to start eliminating that shit. Same with food. Turns into literal shit. Comes right out of us. What about that? Why do we eat? Because it hurts when we're hungry? Because we get lightheaded? We get a little nauseous? What are those? Why? Why are those things happening? Has food programmed our bodies to react in such ways when it's not getting enough of whatever food is doing? Well, how did I survive for 3 weeks without food and water? How did I not die? These are the reasons why I think that fasting is more than what it's said, what it's told to us for in the Bible. Like, it's more than that.
Or unsustained. So a vibration of absolute peace is sustained in whatever circumstances. Where the conditioned or unconditioned mind stops, there the stillness reigns. Where consciousness of being oneself as an individual reaches an end, there ecstasy and ananda dwell, and one beholds the light of the inner linga as a resplendent blaze.
He said it. That's why before he said it ends, I went, it ends. Like, you reach a point where your individual self, who you are, you look at that as you're above that looking down. You're something else looking at who you have been. And it's quite interesting. I've that night that Holly was here, before I ripped the demon out of her, I told her, I looked around my own room and just giggled a little bit at how much of a mess it was. And I was like, wow, look how Hori lives in here. And I laughed. I laughed at how pathetic I live, you know, like, so just dirty and like not giving a shit. Like, I laughed because it's okay, you know, like it was funny to me to be like, wow. I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't, I was judging myself as if I had not caused all of this, you know, but it was okay. I just kind of like, you know, like a little kid makes a mess in his room and all his toys are everywhere, but he's happy playing with his toys. It's how I was able to look at myself. You lose that desire to be individual. You lose that desire to be special or be cool or be, when you are this other, when you're embodying this other energy, like, it's so serene, it's blissful, you're totally okay letting everything about you go to be that. Trust me. It's okay. It's okay to let go of your ego. The reward is unfathomably amazing.
Inner linga as a resplendent blaze. So they go more into the unification of the two levels of knowledge, of the phenomenal plane knowledge of what's happening in the world, and the supreme knowledge, and the integration of those two takes place. But then at the next phase, the Ekyasthala, where Ekya means the unification. Here the self is absorbed in the intense and focused meditation on the transcendent, passing over the limits of mind and entering fully into the ecstatic state. The superconsciousness is completely devoid of any psychic residue or mental deposits. All right, this is very key. There must be no deposits of mentation, mental chatter that still arise. The purification in this phase must be complete so that the vibrational frequency remains stable. Otherwise, it will collapse at times, and then negative energies can enter. So, the supreme state is not conscious of anything in the world. Everything happens perfectly, but the consciousness does not deviate into the world anymore. All of that happens spontaneously by itself, but the consciousness remains self-contained. To attain it, one has to focus on nothing but the contemplation of the self, which is shunya. Somewhat of a lower type is where there is some retention of self-volition when absorbed in the superconscious state. So there's a lower level to this and a higher level. If there's any sense of volition, in other words, effort required to stay in this state, then the vibrational frequency will not be perfectly established. But you must start by making effort, and then it becomes effortless. So one of the vachas...
Allison asked, who is the teacher? I'm getting this from the Sat Yoga Institute. Shunyamurti is his name. Shunyamurti, I guess, would be the answer to that. And what he's basically saying right there is we have to sustain this embodiment. We can't let other shit come into our responsibility field and allow us to do things that we don't want to do, or make us do things that will not be in alignment with this energy and this embodiment. Like, you can't be like this and go work a job selling shit or most of anything. Like, you're not, there's no desire to, there's no need to, there's no need for anything of this world when you're like this. So when any of the world does try to come and interrupt this process, it's going to do just that. It's going to interrupt this vibration. You're going to break this trance. You're going to fall out of this serenity and this ecstasy. And I noticed Allison said, when I was St. Francis, I was in ecstasy, and I knew why MDMA was nicknamed. Oh, yeah. MDMA is definitely a scheduled drug because it just puts us in that state. And I often wonder, like, why does it leave us? Why do we sober up from that? And we're told that it's because it's a chemical and it goes through our body and it hits these receptors and then it fades away and it goes away. Well, when I did the self-exorcism thing a year and a half ago, and I was, God told me how to fix myself just about where I was like Jesus for a whole month and a half. I mean, everything about me was fixed. I had no depression, no desire to smoke cigarettes or pot or drink or porn or anything. Like, after that exorcism, I was like as whole as I could be and still doing life. But I wasn't at like the most pure level. But at that moment, after the exorcism, I asked Source, how do I remain like this? How do I not sober up from this? I want to be like this forever. And it was a simple answer. Stop eating. Stop eating. Boldly stop eating. And that wasn't coming from my own self. When I'm tripping and I look at like ramen noodles and cheese, it looks like a toxic soup of like, I don't know, something poured out of a car or something, and like oil and residue of just toxic soup. Somebody else said in the chat, we live in a toxic soup. Yeah, we do. This world is a cesspool, hermits are us. Yeah. But it's true when, we're only going to be in states like this if we let go of the world and our responsibilities of it and all this stuff. I mean, that basically will leave most people homeless or starving or without a roof over their head. And the world makes sure that you go to work, or you wake up to that alarm clock for your boss, or you go do shit that you do shit that will take you out of this. The world is designed to keep you away from this. Because if we were all like this, we would change other people. We would walk around and again, like Jesus did, walked around and touched people's lives. The reason why I'm told to go be on the beach with none of my toys is so that all I could do is touch people's lives, just talk to them and reach into their soul like I did that night or that week when my family would come up to me, and all I was doing when I was in Jesus mode was this, sitting very still, not because I felt like I needed to be in a yoga position, like I meant to be in a yoga position. It was just what I did. It was so comfortable to sit like this in silence. And that's how I got my quote unquote sleep. People would come up to me and be like, they'd walk in the room and they'd be real quiet and they'd be like, hey. And I would just, what's up? And I was already fully conscious, fully aware. And they were like, were you sleeping? No. Well, when did you sleep last? And I'm like, I don't know when I slept last. It was something I haven't been consciously trying to do. It was just this. This was my sleep. And I was fully always aware and awake and able to respond to people immediately. I knew who was walking in and walking out. I didn't even have to open my eyes to see who was about to open their mouth. I knew. It was like a knowing of every freaking thing around me. And especially more crazy was that I knew everything about that person. Shit that they didn't want me to even know. And you're only given that knowledge because your only desire is to try to help them with that. That's why you're able to access their deepest, darkest secrets and skeletons in their closets and past traumas and just rip them right out and slap them on the table and be like, hey, let's fix you. Can we talk about all this bullshit you holding on to in your soul? Come on, let's fix this. I sent my mom chasing me with a freaking flip-flop, having a panic attack because she didn't want to hear the shit that I was taking out of her soul. Never in my life has my mom chased me around with a flip-flop. It's that crazy. Hey, Doc, how's it going, man? Welcome. All right, let's get back to it. There's about 7 more minutes of this.
Established, but you must start by making effort, and then it becomes effortless. So one of the vachanas, which are one of the talks or discourses, describes this ekyasthala in this way. The one who, having known the real, the supreme reality, is past all care. All right, so you can measure how close you are to how many cares you have, how many worries, how many concerns about the world. When you reach this state, all care must have ended, or you won't be in that vibrational frequency. Once the truth is known and realized, experienced, there is no change in your state. No worry, anxiety, or concern. There is only calm, vision, and tranquility. So your tranquility must never be interrupted by anything, external or internal. Second, you become the real hero, the vanquisher of death. One has become immortal, in the sense that the consciousness is beyond the chain of cause and effect and beyond the cycle of birth and death. You become the glorious embodiment of the Most High. The glorious one has the direct vision of the Supreme. It perceives the soul in all beings to be its own. It is the vision of the self in all and all in the self.
You envision everyone around you as your own. Yes, you do. Your own children. your children, not necessarily your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your family, your friend, your child. You see the innocence of everyone, and you see how that innocence has been perverted and transformed into who they are as their own individual soul, and how their ego has taken shape, how puffed up it is or deflated. You see this, everyone else as your child, as your own creation. You're no longer you. Like, it's so profound to be like this. When the guy, when the cop was with the ambulance guy that put me in the, when Holly came here and started her shit, she was telling the police that I raped her and shit. Like, she went off the wall. And they stuck me in handcuffs, and this cop was trying to get me in the car, and at first I wasn't going nowhere. He couldn't move me. But then the voice told me, if you keep that up, then they're going to say that you're resisting it. So just do it. And that's when I started walking. And you could hear him grunting. You could hear him like struggling to move. He was trying to grab me. And I did everything I could not to giggle at him. You know, all I wanted my whole time in that experience was to get Holly help, to not let her just fade back into that house and get back to the people that she was associating with, to have that experience that she ended up going through that I just saved her from. My whole thing about that was like, you guys need to take her away from here. That's all I want, her to get some help and some healing. And so when I was just saying nothing but that, you know, the cop was struggling to get me in the car, and he finally puts me in the car. And before he closes the door, I looked right into his eyes and said, "You know, you're making a big mistake, right?" I said, I'm the victim in this. I was the one that got attacked, as I said on the 911 call. And you're putting me in a cop car right now. Just want you to know that. And and he looked around, and he was like, shit. He gets me, and he uncuffs me, and he brings me over to the ambulance. And he sticks me in the ambulance and cuffs me to it. And another cop comes in there and sits next to me, and he's being an asshole. And the EMT guy comes in, and trying to stick me with the IV, and the first thought that's going in my head was, what's in that IV from me? You know? And I'm like, I can't fight it. I was told not to fight it, so it must have been a neutral substance. But I turned my attention to this cop that was sitting guarding me. He was being really abrasive and like just tough guy attitude. And I looked at him and I was like, who hurt you? Who hurt you in the past to have you want to feel like this towards me right now? Let's go there. Who hurt you? And he looked at me, and you can tell his eyes changed. His eyes went black. This, what I'm familiar with as a demon, came to the surface. And he told me, we're not going there. We're not going there. Because I hit on something. I hit on something real hurtful in that man's soul. And I came from a place of authority and truth. And he didn't want to go there. Neither did my mom, because she chased me with flip-flops. It's the same thing. A lot of us, you know, take the route of, we were hurt, so we're going to hurt others. That's how we feel better about it. That's most police officers for you. But I thought it was really interesting to see his whole spirit change when I wanted to help him, this police officer, and he was having nothing of it. And I didn't push for it. I just kind of gave him a look that, I know things about your soul. Make sure you do the right thing here.
The blessed who has attained the bliss, consequent to the transformation of the human nature into the divine nature, the blessed one has attained the state of final blissful consciousness. The perfect one who inhabits the void, here is where the shunyata comes in. Perfection is attained, and the perfect one is shunya. It is
Perfection. How many times have I said you have to be perfect in order to get your superpowers? You have to be perfect in thought, in ego, in subconscious thought, in conscious thought, and in action. All those things you have to be perfect. You have to embody perfection. You're not going to get this sort of serenity otherwise. Can't. It's not a vibrational match. And perfection is what causes the vibrational match.
Perfection is attained, and the perfect one is shunya. It is this totality of emptiness of all that is phenomenal, of all that is not the self, all that is not the supreme real, has been attained. That is the meaning of perfection. Okay. The incarnation, self-begot, who has attained the perfect poise, the spontaneous one, is the supernal conscious being with perfect composure. Nothing will ever disturb you in that state. Nothing will ever create any vibrational frequency that deviates from that supreme peace. So, this is the state we must achieve now, very quickly, to establish a protective energy field around the ashram. And this is something each one of us must be responsible for. We must take full responsibility and not say, oh, they're not doing it yet, why should I? Each one must go first. Each one must recognize that there are no obstacles except your own attachment to the ego and its petty concerns. And none of that will matter soon. But you have to have established the real self as your vibrational frequency before you recognize that indeed this is the end, that the body will soon die, the world is over, there is no more going back to some normal life. There is nothing to hold on to in the phenomenal plane. Only the supreme reality, the singularity, will abide. But if you are not in that vibrational frequency before this final conflagration hits, then the anxiety of the ego, the traces of those mental deposits, will prevent you from ascending and reaching liberation. So now is the moment to take.
When shit hits the fan and you freak out in fear and go grab a gun, do you think one of these people sitting there in total vibration and love with everything and understanding and that super consciousness, as he said it is, you think when shit's hitting the fan around you that you're going to be like, oh, shit, oh, and start running or going to grab a gun and start shooting somebody? Mm-mm. No, what will most likely happen is that you won't even be visible to the people around you. You'll be protected on such a level that you can't comprehend. I mean, I was physically attacked, and that night Holly was here by the demon in her when I ripped it out and it came back in, and it attacked me. It punched me in my eye twice. The first time it hit me, I just was like, my first thought was, wow, it didn't hurt. And I could see, like, when you close your eye and you like mash on it, you could see those weird colors, and that's what I saw, like a blink of that. Because I blinked, then I got hit, and I saw little sparks, and I was just like fascinated at how it didn't hurt. And then a second punch came, whack, same spot, and I'm like, that didn't hurt either. And then my voice spoke, and I said, hey man, watch my meat shield. Those were my words. Watch my meat shield. And then the third punch came, and I grabbed it before it hit my face. And another punch. And so now I had both of her hands, and all I could see was... And I was like, stop. Stop. I was very, very calm. Felt empathy and everything. Like... People aren't going to be able to wrestle you to the ground and stick cuffs on you, guys. People ain't going to be able to. I'm willing to bet that if a gun was shot at you, it wouldn't even, it won't fire. A bullet would be a dud or something of that nature, some kind of otherworldly protection. I know that when you're like this, you can't be physically manhandled or attacked and feel pain. I've experienced bouts of going invisible during the Holly experience when I also was able to unlock the door that they were keeping me in 5-6 different times. Like, they kept locking me in, and I kept letting myself out. I kept letting myself right out. And when I'd let myself out, I didn't want to be seen, so I wasn't seen until I got the security guard's attention on my own by winking at him and be like, hey, I'm out again, asshole. And he'd be like, what the fuck? And he'd try to put me back in the room, lock me again. And I'd wait about 20 minutes, and I'd unlock it and walk out again and do the same thing to him. We have different kind of superpowers, I only stuck around there to make sure that Holly was okay and not saying no stupid shit that I have to defend myself for. I'm glad she came out clean with it and unsaid with all the shit she did say. So, when you actually know, then you can truly pray for your enemy, says Doc. Yes, Doc. That's it. When you, like, there's people that's done me wrong, man. And like, I struggle with that rage and that anger still to this day, knowing that, people have hurt me in the past and I let them hurt me. I didn't enact vengeance. And, over time, more and more people hurt you. All of my kids were taken from me very wrongly, stolen from me, taken from me in various ways. Like, I don't, like it just that right there, can make somebody want to kill. Can make you want to kill somebody. Time and time again, that's happened to me. And I didn't take steps to fight that. Like, there's so many things I could have done. But if I would have done any of those things, I would be not in a position right now to take the steps that I'm trying to take with this going to Jesus kind of thing. Like, I would have worldly ties that I couldn't even break right now. So there's reasons why I've made decisions to keep myself in a form of free. Because when I do see my kids again and talk to my kids, I'm going to be able to give them way more than I ever could in terms of wisdom. And I'm okay with that. But doesn't mean that I still don't harbor the anger and desire to get revenge and all these things. It's one of the reasons I started this stream tonight was because I was backing up all my folders onto a OneDrive account, and I have like 100 gigs of pictures and videos of my daughter that I've never seen before, but I've been holding on to since I left that place. And I'm backing them up to a video card before I just delete them, because I don't know if my ex that caused me all this pain and rage has them. I don't know if she has them. So I'm going to reach back out and be like, hey, I might have a bunch of shit that you probably want. And that conversation is going to go a little bit like that. And then I'm going to specifically ask not to know anything about my kids. I don't want to see their pictures. I don't want to hear a phone call. I don't want any of that. I just want to make sure that you have this stuff and disappear again. And like, I started getting a panic attack while I was doing this stuff tonight. And I started like feeling like really pain in my heart. Just so much was flooding my head about how I could have, I should have been way more angry about what happened to me. I should have been way more vengeful. Those feelings started taking me over and causing an actual physical pain in my heart chakra. And I had to double back to this video I was watching last night and remind myself that I am here for a much greater purpose than to let thoughts like that overcome me and throw me out of what I know I have been before and what I'm trying to get back to now, which is the state of perfection that this guy's been talking about. And he seems to say that there's various different degrees of it. I don't remember all those names, the Shurinmanda, the Kachakuchushi. I try to simplify stuff, but when I simplify stuff, it just doesn't seem to make as much sense. These guys got it all categorized out and shit with special names and degrees and everything, and that's fine. That's cool. That's why I'm playing this video, let you guys know. But for me to be sitting here and like getting so many revelations, like, oh yeah, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. That's what I think. And I don't sit in a monastery with these people, and I don't read anything. Anything. Reading puts me to sleep. So this stuff has been channeled into me from these experiences, and I'm trying to like, now that I'm not that anymore, I'm trying to dissect what that was, trying to get back to what got me there. And this is what these streams are for. You don't have to believe anything I say, any of my stories, my whole We Are Magical Part 1 and Part 2. I listed all the crazy things I've done, miraculous energy healings and shit, saving guy from his deathbed, ripping people out of their body in beanbag chairs. You know, the whole work of crazy stuff that you hear from me, I put it all in those 2 videos. And I don't expect anybody to believe it. I'm just really trying to encourage people to have such experiences for themselves. I was talking with somebody the other day and telling them, you know, how powerful we are and how you can heal with your hands. And the person to me said, you know, something about me just doesn't think I am capable of doing that. Like that person is capable of doing that. And they were like, that's probably what stops me from wanting to do it. It's a physical, it's a mental limitation that person had. And I mean, if I felt like that in high school, I wouldn't have experimented on so many different people in the schoolyard. And, hey, hold out your hand, bro. Let me try this. You know, I don't know if it's going to work. I didn't care if it was going to work. I heard something on the internet and I'm putting it to the test. That's what it was. I experimented. I tried it. Trial and error. Over time, I figured out most people feel it. There's only a slim margin that look at me like I'm retarded. And the most of the people feel any degree of something to a lot. And 10% of those people are super sensitive. I can tickle their feet from 12 feet away. I could throw an energy ball at their back from the end of the bus, and they turn around going, what the fuck was that? You know? It doesn't even work every time, but when it does, it's like, holy shit. What is that? What's that phenomena? How are we able to do this? I want people to play with energy. I want people to play with all this stuff themselves. This is why I'm talking about this. You know, we are all magical people, and we can get to the state that he is talking about. And I would never even freaking believe it if it didn't happen to me. By sheer accident. I don't know. I drank a shit ton of alcohol that week and went tubing and puked it all up at my friend's house and didn't eat anything. And then for like a week, I didn't eat. I purged my body with toxicity and alcohol. Purged my body, threw up and everything. And then drank cough syrup one night. And poof, turned into Jesus. What the fuck? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it was the cough syrup, but I certainly know that shit doesn't last for 3 weeks. I certainly know that. Was it because I drank Goldschlager? Was it the flakes of gold and the fasting? I don't know. I just know that I was in this serene state that this guy talks about, and I knew everything. And they come and stick you with a needle and put you in a box and manhandle you and call you insane, okay? They know when people wake up like this, what to do with them to shut them up. Next time I end up like that, I won't let them put me in cuffs. I won't let them put me in an ambulance. I'm going to let somebody film me wrestling 6 cops successfully and let that shit go viral. That's what's going to happen next time. That's probably why they didn't try to arrest me in that hospital. There was a camera on me. Why, when I kicked that nurse like that, nobody asked me any questions. They already knew what I was, and they ran away because they were just demons. That's my conclusion. As crazy as it sounds. That whole experience was me going over the people's heads when they would come and try to talk to me and Holly. I would be like, no, where's your chief? You know, you're too low of a rank to talk to me. You know who I am? I was saying shit like that to them. And they were like dumbfounded. They'd turn around and another person would come up. And they'd talk to me a little bit and I'd say a couple things and I'm like, nah, where's your chief? Where's your chief now? And it'd switch out again. That's about the time the helicopter's coming over. It's a system they have, guys. It's a system they have. They don't want us to wake up like this. The same shit that's watching the UFOs and shit in the sky are watching people that wake up as Jesus Christ. Same thing, I promise. I mean, I can almost promise, okay? I'm on to something big with this. Fasting is huge.
Take advantage. Lethal deposits will prevent you from ascending and reaching liberation. So now is the moment to take advantage of the relative peace that we still have before the backlash of events of this final phase of chaos ensues, and use it to attain your real self and the vibrational frequency that will provide continuity of self-government through the transition from the singularity into the next vibrational mandala, which will be Sat Yuga. But that mandala of consciousness can only be created when the only ones left within the plane of full consciousness are those who are vibrating at that level of perfection. It is that vibrational frequency that creates the new world. It must be strong, it must be unified, and it must be omnicentric. So I hope you understand and that you're on board to be fully an avatar of Shiva and no longer deviate into any mental, egoic consciousness. This is our duty, our sacred task, our responsibility, our privilege, our grace, and our opportunity for liberation. May you all have the courage and the wisdom and the perseverance to achieve God realization and establish that as the vibrational frequency of this ashram, so that the world will have an anchor in the presence of God that will offer protection to all who attune to it.
And I just want to reiterate that, you know, he put a lot of labels on stuff. He put names on things that I've never heard of before, and the Shiva and stuff like that. My ex was in the Shiva stuff, and I know that she didn't do it right just because of how she did to me. She wasn't embodying any of this. She was thinking she was. You know, you got a lot of people like this man that speak like this man, but don't actually embody it. They don't know really what they're talking about. They're repeating and parroting shit. And I don't know if this guy is. He could be doing that. But I relate to what he's saying on such a deep level. And I haven't read any of the stuff that these guys read in the monasteries or whatever. I specifically at this point in my life don't take book knowledge into my brain. I would much rather have firsthand experiences channeled by the voice telling me what to do, to have those experiences and then find out later that other people talk about it to groups like he is. You know, that means a lot more to me than getting it from a book and believing it and hoping it's true and trying to have the experience the book says to have. I never have listened to a dude like this talk about being like this 10 years ago before I had that Jesus experience. I never would have listened to videos like this. I always kind of look at these people like they're full of shit. When this video came across my feed, you know, like, I don't know what I was doing. I think it might have just came on its own, and I listened to it, and I just like had to stop doing what I was doing, like stop playing my game to look at it and be like, damn, this guy's spitting some truth. What's up? And then I found him do this video the other day, and I was like, you know, so anyway, guys, I don't want to make this too long. This is already an hour longer than I thought it would be, but I appreciate you guys showing up, chatting. Allison says, I think we are one. We are one. We're all one, Allison. Even this little bug right here that's flying around right now. Well, not no more. Yeah, you can think that's hypocritical because we are all one. But I'm still doing the worldly shit that I have to do, and those bugs, they get in front of that camera right there, and they cause me to not be able to pay my bills to keep spreading this truth. So that right there was a sacrifice I had to make for the greater good. He's going to die anyway. I hate doing those things. But, like, another reason why I'm told not to be doing this is so I won't have a desire to kill a bug, because if I have bugs in my room, I can't pay my bills. You understand? Like, I posted something recently on my YouTube, on my Facebook page, and basically it was, it's a form of spiritual torture to find yourself choosing to be less than perfect in a mad world, in a perverted, fucked up ass world. It's spiritual torture to know how to embody perfection, because I did that. It was great. It was blissful. And to know that I'm choosing to kill that bug just now because I have to for my work tomorrow. It's torture. It's torture. So let me read the last bits of chat. Hope this made sense. I hope that you guys understand that I'm not trying to come out and be like, I'm perfect. I know how to be perfect, and I'm perfect right now. Hell no. But I've tasted it, and I'm trying to get back there real hard. And I'm going to fast. I'm going to go breatharian. Come mid-April is my goal. Start with a fruit diet, then a liquid diet, then a tea and water diet, and then I'll drink water only after that. Like, I don't want to wipe my ass anymore. That'll be a nice caveat that whole time. But if I do end up turning into Jesus, I just hope that I can still manage to do some kind of work to pay the bills, to live stream my experiences to you guys, because I know when I turn into that, I don't know how I'm going to make the money to pay my internet and all my stuff here to do that. Like, I don't see that working. I don't know if that's a balancing act that's possible. So you might just see me disappear one day, you know? But at least I'm getting this kind of stuff out before I go. So that's why I'm here. That and the whole We Are Magical Part 1 and 2 video is why I did that video. So in case I disappear one day, I got my most important stuff out to you guys. And you can always rewind it. Zulu's here. What's up, Zulu One? How's it going? I'm grateful for a different perspective, says Liz. Yes. Like I said, I don't like all the labels and the Shiva stuff and this yoga stuff, and I don't like a lot of things that this guy looks like. I mean, I don't like the symbol on his book and thing. I don't vibe with any of that. A lot of that probably has to do with my ex that was into all that and royally screwed me over. Like, you know, it's tainted me, but I don't know. I don't put labels on stuff like this. Shiva, source, God. Like, I don't know. I go as like the creator, the father, God. And I try to be like that. I'm thinking that this state of perfection is simply how he created us in the first place. And over time, we all just got perverted and grew egos, and now we're who we are and what we are, and this world is ass. Straight ass. So, yeah, there's no way to go back to perfection unless we each go first and embody perfection within us and exhibit unconditional love. And most likely exercise our demons right out and back into Mother Earth like I did in that video. And I put it on the YouTube channel. Might take a little acid. I don't know. Something about my experiences took a substance to kick them in. This time, I'm going to try absolutely no substance to make it kick in. Or maybe I'm going to take a hit and that'll be it. Or maybe it'll be the last hit I ever take. Because I plan on I plan on doing a little something unique after I go with the. I plan on basically doing another exorcism in mid-April on myself with a hopefully what's going to be a real powerful hit, and then I'm not going to eat anymore. And if it kills me, it kills me. I don't want to be here anymore either. Something's got to give. Allison says, my kid turned 16 on Friday. We've been apart 9 years. She has been made available to me a portion of 12 days. My sister has her. I was going to be in her part of the world upcoming weekend, did not go. So you kind of understand the whole, you're not in your children's lives frustration, heartache that I go through, right? I feel you, hon. I love you. I had a 30-year problematic relationship, says Liz, with my daughter. It's exhausting. She's 43. Allison, Shiva does both. No, I'm not sure about that. I don't even know anything about Shiva. I just remember my ex saying that Shiva was responsible for making her move certain ways when she would do deep meditation. She would always talk about downloading while she was sleeping. Like her sleep wasn't sleep. It was just constant downloading of information. I'm starting to think that there was other things connected to her, and that we were on two different teams without knowing it. You know, she attacked me 2, if not 3 times. Not in the face, but like punching me like in the chest. And I never felt it. Like, I just let her hit me until she stopped and held her own hand in pain and wincing, and I'd be like, "Are you done? Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself on me?" You know. So we were probably on 2 different sides of the teams. I reproduced with her, so probably have to exercise my children one day. What'd you post your number on the YouTube for? Was that for somebody else? Or are you trying to get me to call you? Alex, pure affection, purity, servicing. Yeah. This world couldn't be further from perfection. Right. It could get worse, though. That's why the guy said, take this somewhat peaceful time right now that we have, the calm before the storm, and start getting right. It doesn't take anyone else but you. You can sit there and just quiet your mind and ask yourself, why am I upset today? Why am I angry today? Who am I angry at? What's got me sad? What do I do? You just ask questions, bro. You'll get answers. You won't get the answers that you want sometimes, or a lot of times, but you'll get them. And if you ask why did you get that answer, you'll probably get an understanding of why that answer was given, and then you just kind of sit there with it and go, oh, well, I'm going to ignore that because it's not comfortable for me to do. And most of the time, that's what you'll sit with. And why am I not on the beach right now? Well, it's fucking winter. And I still want to play with my toys. Just feels like I still just got this computer, this new video card. This VR is still new. I'm not ready to go out there yet. I'm not ready to be Beach Jesus yet. And that comes from, like, I'm still so angry and upset and suicidally depressed that I'm holding on and just putting a fucking smile on my face. Am I going to feel like I did when I was Jesus as soon as I hit the beach? Probably fucking not. Probably going to be extremely cold and extremely bored. Have nothing to do but help people that I can't fully embody that unconditional love for in that moment. And so it's going to be a chore. And it wasn't a chore to get like that in the first place. So why should I torture myself first to get there is where I'm at with it. That's why I'm not there right now. I think that I can end up being, just going to call it Jesus. I'm just thinking I can end up being a Jesus here if I fast and exercise this demon, pull this demon back out of me, and not let shit make me spiral back down. The only reason I went back, I backstepped from all that progress and wholeness because I had a dream. Something came to me in my dreams, and it knew the sore spot that I had. And fuck, man. It was, I had a dream about my ex-fiance, from high school, my first love, breaking up with me all over again, some kind of shit, and I woke up from that dream. And I mean, that week I would be going to shop at the Winn-Dixie to go get my groceries, and like a cute chick would walk by in those tight yoga pants, and I'd happen to see her, and I'd look at her sexy ass or legs, and I'd have the voice be like, "That's unpure, asshole." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. I am lusting over another human. That's not right. That's going to throw me back into a sense of wanting to watch porn, all this shit." Like, I got the downloads of information of what to do and what not to do to go back to normal. Like, over time, because of that dream, I woke up and felt like I wasn't whole anymore. Like some reason I got mad about it. Mad and upset and enraged about that dream. And I went and drank 6 shots of vodka. It destroyed still. The back tire of my scooter is still destroyed. Like, broke both my phones that day. Passed out on a pavement and was woken up by 2 cops. That's how much of a slam dunk fail I put myself through just from a dream. When that whole month and a half I was fixed and whole. And that's why I think that there's shit that gets into us. They find a way back into us. All I know is that I ate food when I was told not to. I asked God, how do I remain like this and perfect and whole? And it said, do not eat. And my stupid ass, my liver or side or kidney or something was hurting. And I was like, damn, I probably need to eat to get rid of this pain, right? I don't know. That's probably where I went wrong, though. Was it a hunger pain? Was it a worm eating me and the parasites biting me because I don't have any food in my system? Like, I don't know. All this kind of shit went through my head. But I just know I didn't listen to the voice. The voice was like, you want to stay like this? Stop eating. And I ignored it. Something to be said about ignoring that voice. You can't expect any real positive change when you're ignoring the voice of God telling you what to do. You just, you got to hope for the best, that your decision is going to lead to happiness and any sort of serenity. So, what's up, bro? What's up, Mike? You guys check out the THC channel. Is this your new channel, Mike? This is the one that you can still stream on? Damn, it's 2 a.m.? God, time is flying, dude. No, I was just doing a stream about vibration and spirituality and things like that. It's pretty good, but it definitely was a much longer stream than I wanted. So I'll post a link down in the description to this video so you guys can check it out. But again, it was on the Sat Yoga Institute YouTube channel. For anybody who wants to check it out, this video was "The Human Spirit is Rising. Now our divine spirit must be activated." So anyway, see if I could wrap this up. Something got into me in a dream, made me angry enough to destroy portions of my life that I'm still working to rebuild. And because I had somewhat of stable happiness there, and that dream made me screw all that up, now I'm like below, like unhappy. Like, I just went back to drinking and smoking and anything that would make me happy again. Which is just diving back into the cesspool of this world. So hopefully next time I do this, next time I have this sort of awakening, I'm definitely not going to eat when it hurts. And, I hope that's a good decision. If it's not, you guys will somehow figure that out. If I'm not streaming, if I just completely fucking disappear without a goodbye, Probably not alive anymore, is all I'm going to say. But at least you guys know right now what my plan is. Oh, that's your backup channel. Flesh is weak, says Allison. The Great Reaper. Reap eating. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So anyway, guys, much love. I know me and Mike are going to get back on soon and do some more VR flat smacking. We've got the kinks worked out. I've just been super busy this week, and this weekend I'm actually going to be busy too, Mike. So I got a lot of stuff hitting Saturday, and then editing Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So my work has just turned up. Like, usually I'd be really excited and making a lot of money right now, but I'm not. I don't fucking want to do this shit. It's nice though. I'll be able to get the things that I need to put more of a smile on my face, aka some more weed. And that's that. So love you guys. Thanks for sticking it, listening, and having convo in the chat. You guys are awesome. You guys are like my soul fam. Hope you don't go anywhere. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Yeah, Mike's been making lots of cool ass merchandise. You guys got to check out his channel, his flat smacking, his merch is sweet. THC merch. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Love y'all. I'm gonna go out with the intro music. I'll catch y'all another time. Peace and much love. I'm here to wake up the world. Who's with me?
Fighting the machine, fighting the machine, fighting the machine, fighting the machine.
Orishi Show. Take the red pill. Take the red pill. Orishi Show. Orishi Show. Take the red pill. Take the red pill.
Justice. Fight. Honor. Light.